Hello, Year 6, and welcome back to Lesson 7 of our Destination Reader Sessions about the story Cloud Busting by Mallory Blackman. I'd love to hear about what you thought about that big reveal. Sam is actually the class bully. This really makes me want to keep reading even more to see what's going to happen. Let's recap. Please remember that any words found in red throughout today's lesson are key words that I'd like you to focus on. These may be vocabulary words or those sentence starters from your strategy prompt sheet. Questions for you to answer will be in blue, and any time that I'd like you to pause the video and write down your answer, you'll know because the writing will be in green. As we have with each Destination Reader session, before we begin, please make sure that you have a copy of the story, Cloud Busting by Mallory Blackman, a strategy prompt sheet, a pencil, and a piece of paper, or your home learning book. If you don't have these things, pause the video now to make sure that you are ready to learn. Well done. Let's get started. Today, we are continuing on with our strategy of making inferences. Yesterday, I asked you what an inference is. Today, Year 6, I want you to dig back into your long-term memory and remember, what two things do we use to make an inference? Pause the video now and write your answer in your home learning book. Awesome job. If you said we use clues from the text and our background knowledge to read between the lines, you are correct. Well done. We use background knowledge, things that we already know, as well as clues that the author has given us to make those inferences. And that's what we're going to be doing today. Before we begin, let's review a few vocabulary words that we need to know and understand in order to read today's chapters. The first word is pedestrian. Pedestrian. Well done. A pedestrian is a noun. A pedestrian is a person walking on the pavement. The next word is a verb. The word is mucking. Mucking. Well done. To be mucking around is a very informal phrase, and it means to be playing around harmlessly. Our last vocabulary buster today is a phrase. The phrase is a mixed bag. A mixed bag. Well done. That means something having both negative and positive qualities. We would call something with both negative and positive qualities a mixed bag. In our reading today, it's weather that's being called a mixed bag. So it's a day that has both positives, maybe some sun and warmth, and some negatives, maybe some clouds and rain. Again today, our answers are going to be 1 or 2 marks. Let's quickly review how we answer 1 and 2 mark questions. 1 mark questions need a short and snappy answer. Your turn. 1 mark questions need? Awesome job. My turn. 2 mark questions need a PE answer. Your turn. 2 mark questions need... Yes, well done. A PE answer. We give our point, we answer the question, then we give evidence using examples from the text. Today, let's begin reading Chapter 9. Please take a second to find Chapter 9 in your cloud-busting text. Great job. Let's read. Chapter 9. Setting the scene. It was a strange day. Some sunshine, some rain, some cloud, some blue sky, a mixed bag. Roll up, dip your hand in and pull out any kind of weather. Let's stop there. That was a short chapter. I wonder, Year 6, what was the purpose of Chapter 9? Why has the author included it? Pause the video now and write your answer in your home learning book. All right, remember I asked you what is the purpose of Chapter 9? The purpose was to set the scene for something important going to happen. So we know that something coming up next is going to be quite important. Flipping the page, we are on Chapter 10. Let's take a second to look at the picture. Tell me out loud, what do you think is happening in this picture? Yes, it looks like Davy there on the right is pulling Sam out of the way of an oncoming car. Ooh. I wonder why Sam was in front of the oncoming car. Why did Davy need to pull him out of the way? Why didn't the car stop? I have so many questions. Let's read Chapter 10. Maps of Actions in Life. Fizzy Feet lived 2 doors down from the class bully, me. Our mums became great friends. They wanted their sons to be good friends, too. Every morning, Mum said, "Sam, why don't you go and knock for Dave?" "I don't want to walk to school with him," I sniffed. "Davy's a dork." "Go and be friendly," Mum insisted. So I'd knock for Davy, with my mum watching. And once we'd turned the corner, I'd make Davy pay. Let's have a quick think here. I know that to make someone pay for something means to do something unkind. Here's my answer. I think Sam made Davy pay because he was angry that his mum was making him play with him. But Sam couldn't take his anger out on his mum, so he was mean to Davy instead. Pause the video now. Why did Sam make Davy pay? Say your answer out loud and make a note of your ideas on a piece of paper. Well done, Year 6. Let's continue reading Chapter 10. We're about 2/3 of the way down the page, maybe 3/4. I've just read, I'd make Davy pay. But one rainy morning, I went too far. I was just mucking about. I didn't mean to hurt him, not seriously hurt him, but I pushed him, and Davy snapped and pushed me back. And I tripped and I slipped and I fell backwards into the path of an oncoming car. And the car didn't have time to stop. We're going to stop there for a second, Year 6, and have a think. Why do you think Davy snapped? We know that before he had been very calm while Sam was bullying him. But today he snapped, meaning he wasn't calm anymore. Why do you think Davy snapped? Pause the video now, say your answer out loud, then write it in your home learning book. Well done. Here's my answer. I think Davy snapped because Sam had been being mean to him for so long. 1 mark. That's my answer. My second mark will come with my evidence. For example, in Chapter 7, we learned that, there's my evidence. We learned that Davy was always calm and smiling during the bullying. I think today, when Sam pushed him, he simply had enough and snapped. Year 6, have you ever been in a situation where you just snapped? You were getting frustrated, and then you were just too frustrated and you snapped. I know I certainly have. Let's continue reading. We are on page 54, and we are on the second verse. I heard brakes screech and someone scream, and then a hand came out of nowhere and grabbed me and pulled me out of harm's way. Seconds came and went before I realized what had happened. Davy had saved my life. Davy had actually saved my life. The driver tooted her horn and shook an angry fist, but she didn't stop. She didn't even slow down. A man, a pedestrian, asked me, "Are you okay?" I didn't answer. Couldn't answer. I couldn't hear a thing. Over the thundering of my heart. And then Davy smiled. Just smiled. And turned to the man, the pedestrian, and said, "My friend is fine." And I felt so strange, 'cause we weren't friends, and Davy had saved my life. And all I could do, all I could think was, why did he do it? And all I could feel was, I'm alive, thank God. And all I could hear was my heart stomping in my chest. And all I could see was Davy's smile. And in that moment, I hated that smile almost as much as I hated Davy, because he'd saved my life. And then he made it worse. He said, "Your life belongs to me now." And he had a strange look on his face. "What do you mean?" I hissed at him. And Davy smiled his smile. Let's stop there, Year 6. I notice here that Sam is having conflicting feelings. Throughout all of page 56, his feelings are conflicting. That means they're different. They're opposite. What are these conflicting feelings that he's having? Pause the video now, think about, and write down your answer. Remember, this is a 2-mark question. Well done. Let me share my answer with you. Remember, the question is, what are these feelings? I need to give my point and evidence to get my 2 marks. So, I will tell you the 2 conflicting feelings and how I know that Sam is feeling them. Listen to my answer. I think Sam's conflicting feelings are gratitude and anger. I think this because Sam is grateful to be alive. He says, "I'm alive, thank God." However, it also seems like Sam is angry at Davy. He says, "I hated that smile almost as much as I hated Davy." Because now Sam owes Davy something. No one wants to owe something to someone they don't like. Let's keep reading. We are at the top of page 57. I have to take care of you. Make sure no harm comes to you. I have to look after you. Your life belongs to me. I have to show you things. I have to teach you things. I have to be with you. Your life belongs to me. Get real, I scoffed. My life belongs to you. Yeah, right. But inside I was scared. Davy's smile did it. How I wished he'd stop smiling. Just for 5 minutes. 5 seconds. I stormed off. anything to get away from him. But Davy ran after me. "Look at that!" he pointed. "A blunt rainbow." "A what?" I looked up. I couldn't help it, and I saw something I'd never noticed before. The short, sharp burst of rain had turned to drizzle, drops shining like pearls through the sunlit air, and a muted rainbow danced in and out of the scattered gray-white clouds. A blunt rainbow. And it was like my eyes weren't my eyes, but Davy's. And it was like my mind wasn't my own, but Davy's. And it was like nothing I'd ever felt before. My head was full of words that I'd never used before. I could see things in the rain, and the clouds and the sky that weren't there before. Or maybe I'd just never noticed them before. I didn't like it at all. So I ran and ran and ran and ran and ran to school, away from him. That's the end of chapter 10. Tomorrow, year 6, we will continue on reading, and we'll begin on chapter 11. At the end of today's session, I'd like you to take a few minutes and answer this question in a few sentences or a paragraph. Do you agree with Davy that Sam's life belongs to him now? Why or why not? Remember, we'd love to see your answers in an email or on MyUSO, or even just a photo of your home learning book and all the fantastic work you've been doing. Well done today, year 6, and we'll see you again tomorrow for your next session. See you later.